Well, I'd have been against it, but they're back. Mark and Mike. It doesn't take a genius.
Yeah. So what are we talking about today?
Well, we had a couple interesting stories happen to us, and they seem to be on a theme of how the little things really stick out to the consumer, to the employee. Um, and so let me tell my story, and your story is a happier story. So you end with your story. I'll start with my story. I was at a big box retailer,
Which we won't name
which we will not name.
because that would be
And
low.
it's awful. So so there's a big box retailer I was at, and I just noticed that some employees were in masks, some weren't. Well, you know, I don't really care, but it just struck me as odd. Like, they don't really have a uniform policy here. I wonder why that is. And then I saw a little bit of a cleanliness issue, and then I saw um, an elderly couple in masks. So this is obviously important to them, who walk over to an associate and stand, a few feet away, and they're pointing at something on a brochure. And the associate walks over, takes her mask off, and goes, "Now what?" and leans over them, looking at this brochure. So um, again, not everybody cares about this, right? Not everybody cares about this, but it just really caught my attention that obviously this particular pair of consumers care about this, and this particular associate was maybe tone deaf on what was going on. I'm being generous here, right? I mean, they're all worn out. I know they're all exhausted. I know it's been a trying time. I know they're probably working really weird hours. There's a lot of justification I could give to it. But of course, we're talking to our audience who's wanting to learn and get better. And so I just want to bring up this story as an example of, man, that little thing practically shouted across the store to all the people around who could see what had happened.
Oh, yeah, that's yeah. As you're talking, I'm picturing it, and I'm just I'm horrified with you that yeah, these poor old people, probably so apprehensive, and knowing that their families have told them not to go out.
Right.
Their kids,
Exactly.
their grandkids, their neighbors have all said, "Don't go anywhere. Just
Right.
you need anything, you will go get it for you." And then they've ignored all that,
Yeah. Yeah.
ventured forth, and now some young employees spewing particulate on them.
Yeah. Yeah. That's, I mean, and obviously it wasn't that bad, but that's what it looked like. And that's sort of
Right.
the point, is these little things look like something. It
Mhm.
was a trust breaker.
Oh yeah, yeah. You had this agreement that was unspoken that we would provide these little measures to keep you safe, and somebody, like maybe the words violated, right? They violated that agreement,
Mm,
and
mm.
so yeah, it's a strong word, but it sounds like the perception that you
Yeah.
had.
Yeah.
And
So
then
you have a happier story though.
yeah, I go to Home Depot, a different big box retailer, and I was just blown away by by all the little signs that they were doing the right thing. The employees were all masked uniformly. The little dots were on the ground so that you knew where to stand, how far apart to stand. The self checkout area is now manned by three people. Like,
Huh.
is it really a self checkout anymore if there are
Yeah.
three? you know, and so there's a person kind of minding the space and who goes in next. And then there's another person that's kind of in the middle, making sure, if anybody has any issues, they're there. And then there's a person, I think they're just saying thank you on the way out, and then noting, how many people are leaving the building because they're still trying to adhere to how many people are in the building.
Yeah.
So they've got an iPad that probably communicates to the guy who's letting us in how many people just left.
Wow.
And so the plexiglass barriers are up. And what I noticed, and you've got a little bit of time because everything's moving a little bit slower. there was this consistency of action. So you'd wheel in, they'd explain to you, how it worked, and then you do your thing, and then as you walked away, there was this immense flurry of wiping. There was spraying and wiping, and so they wiped the monitor screen, they wiped the if you used the keypad for your credit card, all that was wiped down, and then they welcomed the next guest to that station. And it was, to me, I thought, I don't really know if all this wiping works.
Right.
But I know it's tremendous theater.
Yes.
And the production value and the production safety value, perceived safety value of it, just makes you feel good. You're like,
yes.
I like that. I see what you're doing, and I like it.
Yeah, it is a show. I mean, and that's the thing, is no matter what, it is a show. Even if you don't want to consciously let it be a show, you are doing a bunch of things in front of another person who is trying to give you money, trying to work for you, whatever it is. And they're perceiving all of that and interpreting it as, this is what I think this person's about. This is what I think this company is about.
Mm-hmm.
So,
go
ahead.
Yeah, just the thought of everything speaks.
Yeah.
And it's either saying something very positive or it's saying something negative.
Yeah.
And so, your experience where and you look at it maybe from the employee's perspective. So they pulled down their mask in order to improve communications.
Yep.
These are elderly folks. I need to be clear, that I answered their question, and I want them to perceive that I'm caring, I'm engaged, and I want to help them.
Right.
The perception at the other end was, oh my God, nobody here is following any of the rules.
Right. Right.
This is disconcerting to me.
Yeah. And there were some structural things they had done. Every other bathroom stall was X'd out.
Mm-hmm.
There were pieces of tape on the floor and so on and so forth. The bathrooms were dirty, and the spaces weren't necessarily being followed. And so again, maybe most customers don't care, but it points to the fact that they are not consistent about this, for sure.
Well, I think it goes to the difficulty of leadership. So the easy part is closing every other stall. It is putting those little stickers 6 feet apart on the ground. It is putting up the little rope barrier so that it directs all the traffic in a certain direction.
Right.
Designating the aisles one way or another. That's easy.
Yeah.
And I call the printing company. They order me some stuff. I stick it all down. The hard part is,
I'm done.
Yeah. Look, we're safe. I now have to get the engagement and buy-in of every single employee for whatever processes we've created to go along with all this physical stuff that we've done.
Yeah.
And so that's the hard part, right? And I think sometimes as leaders we think, well, we ordered the stickers and we put them up and we added some signage.
Yeah. Done.
Look at me.
Yeah.
And that's not the case. The hard part is leading your people and convincing them of the purpose and the vision and how each individual activity that they conduct either moves us closer to people feeling comfortable and wanting to do business with us or takes us away from that.
Yeah. So we've both stumbled upon, I guess I learned it from Andy Stanley, but some material on trust and building trust. That's sort of a 4-point method. Some of it rational, some of it just emotional. Let's talk about the rational elements of trust that are sort of reflected in our stories here. You want to?
Mm-hmm. Well, the first one, if just to be considered trustworthy, one of the entry-level behaviors is competence.
Yeah.
Can the person I'm dealing with do the job?
Yeah.
Can they fix the car? Can they work the cash register? can they, can they just physically and mentally and fulfill whatever it is the task is.
Yeah.
And so that's a big one. The other piece of rational satisfaction is reliability. Did you keep your promise? So you advertised on the website, we are practicing safety and we're going to do all this stuff, and then I show up and, in your case, what was advertised on the website wasn't the reality that you found in the store.
Right.
And so there was a lack of reliability to that. And so are we keeping our promise, whether it's a promise of a specific action or is it a brand promise?
Yeah.
And so without competence and reliability, we can't go anywhere. And we talk a lot about automotive retail. If the car isn't fixed right after you take it there, all the other stuff, the masks, the bottle of water, the extra phone call to keep you informed, the wiping down of the car, you didn't fix the car.
Right.
Nothing else matters at this point.
Right.
Because you didn't demonstrate you had competence.
It's just like a doctor, right? I mean, I'm not going to go to a doctor who doesn't have the sheepskin on the wall that says, yeah, I've been to medical school. I have been trained. I can heal you. But then we also sort of ask around and say, is he good? Does he, did he heal you? And, maybe it's social media reviews, or maybe it's just talking to friends and neighbors, but somehow we're going to verify that not only can he heal me, but he will heal me. So can he do it? Will he do it? Can the company do it? Will the company do it? Competence.
Oh, yeah. When I always thought in the doctor's office, I didn't want to see the diploma. I wanted to see his report card.
Right.
Because if I'm in there and I'm having trouble peeing and he got a D- in urinary.
Yeah.
That's not my guy.
This is not the guy.
Yeah, you got the overall diploma. I want to know if you're really good at what I'm struggling with. And that goes to competence and reliability.
Right.
So then the other half of that is, okay, if we can do the base level activities, then we move into emotional satisfaction.
Yeah.
Where people become emotionally connected with your business, your product, or your service.
And the fun thing about this is that we just talked about rational trust builders. This is to some degree irrational. The big box retailer I went to, they could have the best prices and they could actually have the cleanest facility, and I just missed it because of the cues I got that I picked up emotionally, if you will. And I'm kind of out, right? I'm just sort of, I'm kind of done with it. And or at least I suspect the older couple is done with it. That I talked about the story. So
yeah, the fact that it stuck with you enough to retell the story. We talked, we've talked previously in episodes about legendary service.
Right.
Well, there's two kinds of legends. There are the great legends, and there are
the tragedies.
the cautionary tales.
All right.
Yes. Don't do this. A friend of mine, we're going to retell the story, and it is a legend. It's just not a good one.
But see, it got our emotions involved, and that's what drives behavior in so many cases. So here we are telling these stories again because these big box retailers both somehow managed to grab our emotions, one in a positive way, one in a negative way. So anyway, so we're talking all around this, but these emotional elements of trust, what are they?
Yeah, the emotional elements are, the first one is sincerity. And sincerity is can you be believed? And so we're dependent upon other experts, whether it's getting our car fixed or going to the big box retailer or going to the restaurants, right?
Yeah.
And do I believe that you're sincere? And do I trust, and do I believe that you're honest and trustworthy in what you say?
Yeah.
And so, when you think about that, it's very hard to define, and there's not a 10-point scale on it or anything like that. It's just, I believe these people and I believe what they say. And if that's there, all right, so if they're competent, they're reliable, and I believe them, right, now we're up to a different level of trust building.
Right.
And then the last one is care.
Yeah.
And care sounds so warm and fuzzy and huggy and everything. Care is simply, do I believe that they have my best interest at heart? And when you think about a business, they always go, well, we have to, we have to make a profit.
Yeah.
This doesn't exclude that. So care is, do they take care of me and at the same time take care of themselves?
Right.
If it's this just them worried about themselves, care is not present. But if they can keep my interest top of mind and as well as their own, I perceive that that's caring.
Yeah.
So yeah, they've got to do what's right. They got to make a profit. They got to do what they need to do. But at the same time, I believe they care about me and making my life easier, better, more efficient, save me some money, point me in the right path. Then all of a sudden, I'm emotionally engaged with them.
Yes. Yes. And we've all been there with a brand. Now I want to back up for a second because I think this is interesting. When you talk about sort of stage one of emotional trust building and that there's some that we can believe this person, that they're genuine, right? I can see genuine at a personal level all the time, right? There's that guy at the party who just comes off way too suave and way too perfect, and in the back of your mind you're going, what's this guy hiding? What's his deal?
Yeah.
And it just somehow it's too Teflon, right? It seems fake.
Right.
It seems fake. Now, I see that on a personal level, but on an organizational level, how does a business come across as fake or not to be believed? And I don't know if you've got any examples. I didn't really tell you I was going to ask that question, but I think this is a hard one for businesses to wrap their heads around, that there's your business needs to come across as genuine.
Well, I think it's what you talked about earlier. Any incongruities. So if there's anything that communicates an opposite message, and we deal with folks, and they come out and say, we treat customers like family. We take great care of people and stuff like that. And then you go to their team member meetings, and all they're talking about is pushing product and we're gonna put a bonus on this product, and whether they need it or not, make sure you talk about it, things like that. And so that manifests itself in the workplace, and all of a sudden you've got, they're saying one thing, but their people are leaning a different direction. And people are incredibly attuned to this. They're like, wait a minute, this doesn't match. There's dissonance between what you said you were going to be and what you are.
Yeah.
And even if it's tiny, even if it's subtle, all of a sudden, the customers pick up on that, and they may not know why, but they don't feel a connection to the place.
Right.
And all of a sudden, what I lose with that is I lose advocacy. I start to lose loyalty, and I never get to the ultimate level of customer engagement, which is passion. And passion is, and I love this definition. Passionate is when the customer says, I can't imagine a world without this. Right?
Yeah.
I can't imagine a world without this bakery. I can't imagine a world without this product. I can't imagine, I just can't imagine it. It would just be awful. And that's, when these four things are present, right, that's the level of engagement that you're looking for from customers.
Love it. Passion, as we've said before, I believe on this podcast, means to suffer. So, you don't have the product in stock and I could go across the street and get it elsewhere. I'll suffer. I'll wait until you have it. Mm-hmm. I'm not gonna turn away from you. You messed up today, and my delivery was all jacked up, or my meal wasn't a good meal at the restaurant, or blah blah blah. It's okay. You get a pass. I'll suffer through this particular instance, because I'm that bought into who you are and what you're about.
Mm-hmm. And we see that with sports fans
right.
that are passionate about their team. And even when the team's having a losing season and making terrible decisions, they stand right there with them. Right?
Yep.
They don't. They leave their jersey on. They still wear it out in public. The day
Yep.
after a humiliating loss.
Yep.
They don't go out and scrape the bumper sticker off the car.
Right.
I'm done. Done with it. No, they believe in it, and they believe there's a brighter future, and they will give them a second and a third chance.
Yeah.
And if you have that with customers, right, because every business is complicated. Everybody at some point is going to drop the ball. The
You bet.
question is, have we been competent, reliable, sincere, and do people believe we care enough that when we do drop the ball, they stick with us and
Yeah.
they remain passionate about what it is we do.
And oh, by the way, sometimes that sincerity is showing we just dropped the ball, right? We've got warts too. Whoops, sorry about that.
Mm-hmm.
And it only makes you that much more credible to them as somebody worthy of their trust.
Oh yeah, yeah. And if you've got a passionate customer, if you've got a fully engaged customer, what I really like about it is that they'll make excuses for you. Right? They're like, it's okay. These things happen. I know you guys will make it right. I'm not worried. When do I need to come back?
Right.
That and so yeah, there's a high level of trust, but people know things happen within that. They will give you the benefit of the doubt. And man, that's if you want to survive a pandemic or you want to grow your business, that's the level of customer passion that you need in order to weather any storm, whether it's a mistake on your part or just something that's external and didn't have anything to do with you, but could negatively impact your business.
I think that's it. And there are some ways to go about improving that level of trust in your organization and your professional life. I was just sort of reflecting on that this morning, that so many times it's just doing what we just did, right? Is letting the organization see it through the customer's eyes. Mm-hmm. So, if I shared this story with the right people at the big box retailer, I know they'd say, oh my gosh, I didn't even think about what that looked like, or I didn't know that was going on. We're going to have to do something to improve our reliability on this particular policy we have, and make sure that our people are bought in on the policy, and so on and so forth. So that's one thing you can do, is try to gather customer input or employee input, if it's an employer to an employee, and see it through their eyes about what they are experiencing and what are the little things that are really sticking out and shouting, because everything speaks, as you said.
No, so true. And try as we might, we'll never be able to guess exactly what another person's thinking.
Right.
And so your point is a good one. And I've been in meetings and everybody's sitting around going, wow, how do we figure out what the customer wants? And then somebody will go, let's ask them.
Right.
And that takes us into a whole nother topic, but yeah, let's ask them what are the things that we're doing that speak to them in a positive way? What are we doing that speaks to them in a way that detracts from them becoming passionate about our business? If we do that, then yeah, we have a real good idea on what to do next.
Love it. So as we are wrapping up here, Mike, what else would you recommend to our audience? 3 or 4 people, I don't know, maybe 5, maybe 6 at this point, hard to say. But what would you recommend to these audience members to help them with this?
I think you look at it from the standpoint of in the order that we did it, right? As you bring on new people, as you change things, right? Are they competent? Are we demonstrating reliability, right? Which to me is consistent execution, right? And then looking at the sincerity piece, right? Are we saying or not saying things that sometimes when we're training employees, we talk about what not to say as much as what to say. So do they know what to say and so that they can be believed? And then ultimately, are we demonstrating those caring behaviors? And to me, that's personalized individual attention. So what might be a caring, gesture to one person might not be to another. And so we've talked about this before, where you're present, you're in the moment, you understand truly what that person's interested in, not a group of customers, but this customer, this is their interest. Can I meet that interest and let them know that I've listened and I'm taking care of them? Man, at that point, you got it going on. So just taking a look from top to bottom, right? Where do I need in my organization? Where do my people need to work? And maybe I'm solid here, but this needs work. And then deciding on a course of action for that.
I love that. And just, a warning for anybody who's thinking about taking Mike on his offer there. This is going to take some humility on the part of all parties involved, right? To really listen and to really think about, what am I hearing? What am I listening to from the other person that points out how we could serve them, how we could personalize our attention to that person. And man, what's amazing is the people that are the best at that also happen to be the people that are the most confident in the workplace. They're incredibly humble, but the confidence level of their level of service is off the charts.
Right. Well, I think that's a good place to end, and it sets us up for another podcast where we can talk about people's understanding of their competence and how conscious they are of what they know and what they don't know.
Yeah.
And that's impact on leadership and customer service and so forth. So good
Phenomenal
stuff, my man.
Well, let's just see us out.
So go ahead and tweet that, or share it any other way you want. As always, there are no rights reserved, no trademarks, no copyrights. Share it if you want to. And join us next time on It Doesn't Take a Genius.
That's good enough.